Hi, I'm Ryan from Educate.me, and today I'm going to show you how you can make QR codes directly from a Google Sheet. Google has a way to create QR codes in Google Chrome simply by navigating to the site and then clicking on the little QR code icon in the address bar. And I can download that, and that works well, especially if you just have a couple to do. But what if you had a list of URLs and you needed to create QR codes for that entire list? This could get a little bit tedious. So today I'm going to show you how you can create those QR codes from a list in a Google Sheet. And you notice I've got a few different URLs here. Whoops, didn't mean to navigate to that one. So we have educate.me and a couple of YouTube videos. And I have a URL code that Google Sheets just created for me. So how do we do this? We're going to create a new sheet so we can show you how to do that. So in this first column, I'm going to have my addresses. And for time periods. So there's my 3 addresses I want to make QR codes for. In Google Sheet, we're going to use the formula called image, which will create an image from an address we give it. Now, where do we get this address? Well, Google has in their charting, in this whole mess right here, Google has a URL that automatically creates the chart, and one of the arguments is QR. And I can actually navigate to this. So if I open up a new tab, and at the end here, it wants the website address. So you don't have to remember this whole thing because you can just copy and paste it. But we add the website address to it, and we have a QR code. So what we're going to do is use the image function and pass it that whole URL. So we're going to start out with our equals image. And it wants the address of where we're getting the image. So I'm going to paste in that whole mess. The 200 by 200 is the size of the graphic. That's a good size. You don't need to change that. And then we need to add this URL. So we're going to use a formula to automatically grab the URL from what we put into A1. So to do that, we're going to add on to it and use the ampersand for that. Oh, we need to close our quotes for this first part. So that whole mess right there is in quotes because that's the first part of the text that we want. And we're going to add on to it with ampersand. And we're going to add on to it whatever's in A1. And then we're going to close our formula. So it's image, and inside the parameter for image, we're just giving it the address, but we need to make the address. So we use our text here, and it's enclosed in quotes. And then we just add A1 to the end. And when I hit return, we get our QR code. And once we do that once, we can just click and drag that down and it'll create the QR codes for the other ones. And now I have my QR codes automatically created without doing any other work. Unfortunately, you cannot right-click on these and copy them into a document or a presentation. You will get unable to create some images every single time. Well, we're not going to let a little thing like that stop us. We're going to use another formula. And that's what I've got right in here called Hyperlink. And it's going to be this whole big old mess. But I'm going to help walk you through it. Oh, and we forgot one other piece of our formula. So right now we're just passing it well, let's go to this one. We're just passing it whatever's in A1. Sometimes an address might have some characters in it that will mess up our URL and we won't get the right information. So we need to use another function called encode URL and pass it A1. So we have the string, and we're going to add on to it ampersand using the function encode URL, and we're going to pass it A1. Now, nothing will change. We still get the same thing. But if there's special characters in here that might have messed it up before, well, it's not going to mess it up now. But we can't copy those. We need to create something we can copy. Now, this is kind of a hack and it's kind of a pain, but I think the time saved with creating the QR codes makes it worth it. We're going to use the Hyperlink function. And the first, I got to look this up because I can never remember. So the first part is the exact same address we just gave. You notice it looks the exact same. So I'm going to just copy and paste that into my function. And if I hit return, it's just going to put an address. It's just going to go to that link and we can see the QR code, and that's all fine and dandy. But we want the QR code to be in here, and then we'll get rid of this column. So the first part of the hyperlink is where we're linking to, and the second part is what we want to grab, and that's where we're going to use the image function again with our big old mess. Ta-da! And now I can get rid of these. So what we did with this hyperlink, and we passed it the link to the image, which is what we were using before with just image function. And then we pass it the image function again with the exact same big old mess. And with my testing, I did change it to 300 by 300. It doesn't matter. I'll have the links to these down in the description so you can just copy and paste. And then I can drag that down. Now, I still can't copy on this. If I right click and select copy, it won't let me. See, it won't grab them correctly. And in fact, I had that whole column selected. See, it won't. I'm doing the Command B. It doesn't paste. So once we have that in there, to get the image, we do have to click on the link. But now that's an image that we can copy that image and then paste that where we need it. And once it's in there, we can resize it. And we got our 3 QR codes, or however many you might have, depending on how you are creating this. You can use something like Autocrat. I don't have that installed. There's an add-on called Autocrat that you could do a mail merge and put these into another document, then share the document with everybody or print them out or however you want to use them. So using this chart.googleapis.com is a quick and easy way to grab QR codes and put them in a spreadsheet, so I could have a ton more addresses in here and it will automatically create the QR codes for me. So that's it for today. Hopefully you got something out of this. If so, hit that like button down below and also check out my website over at educate.me. Stay classy.